Hello everyone, so now we are going to start working on the lips, and then I just want to look at some of the reference here. Okay, so the lip, you need to understand the shape. So if you look through the reference that I've given you this week, okay, you can see there's a sharp edge at the top, and there's another sharp edge at the bottom. Okay, sharp edge at the top, a sharp edge at the bottom, and the rest is just rolling inwards, rolling in, and then you'll be a little bit rounded, and then the rest will just roll in, you know. So we need to understand this part, and there's a bump at the center, so the bottom part, there's like a temple here that is pushed in. And it's very cool that we have all this reference to keep in mind. So the upper lip is actually thinner than the lower lip, and here on the side here, of course that's variable. Some people upper lip is thicker, but most people they have a thicker lower lip. Okay, and then the most important part I would say is to get this top part right, and then it's like a little triangle over here that's pushing downward here. Okay, so this part that I'm talking about, this is very good reference. So we can actually use number 5 brush, and we press alternate, and we just push it out. So later you can already know that number 5 brush is going to be really useful for us. Number 5 brush, and you press alternate, you just push this exact detail here. And things to take note, the rest of the part will be rolling in. There's a temple over here, rolling in, and then these two humps here is a little bit thicker, like a little bit bigger at the side, and then there's also this part of the face here where it's very faint. You know, we can see the indent line here, but it's almost like a dotted line, and then it's just not so prominent. So what it does is that the side of the face and this side, the volume is almost the same. So there's like almost not much definition. So we can really just smooth out this part. And so what you have is this part where we push it out, when we have the volume pushing out. Here we will have a pushing in, and then here on the side it will just remain relatively smooth and rounded. Okay, so I hope you really understand. The main part is still the green part that we're trying to nail down this shape here. And then later we'll open the mouth a little bit as well. Okay, so and then we will insert in a cylinder here as the teeth. So you have a cylinder inside here. Okay, so front view looks something like this. Okay, so if you break out a shape, you can also try to break out a shape and try to understand and identify all these different areas of the mouth. That will make things much easier when you want to draw or paint next time. Alright, so let's get started. So I'm going to leave this reference up here for my own reference as well. I'm going to use my number 6 brush, go to the side here. Just going to cut in this nose definition a little bit more. And I'll bump up the resolution to be 400. And I'll start to dynamesh this. So I want to have this line running down. Yeah, something like this. So if I were to put it to my reference, this line will be over there. So it's like the winkle of the mouth. And then I want to start cutting this the mouth line. So the mouth line, let me bring up another reference. The mouth line starts off with 1/3 from the nose, and then 2/3 of this space is actually the bottom. So the mouth line will be right at the center here. So it's also really good for us to identify all these different distance. So 1, 2, and 3 is equal distance, and then we can identify where the mouth should open at. Another line very important for us to take note here is the blue line. So the edge of the mouth where the edge stops was stop together relatively near to where the pupil's edge starts when everything is facing the front. Okay, so if you line them up correctly, it will be it's a nice check for us to do, and it will look much better like this. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. So here I can already try to measure. This is kind of like 1/3, and this is like 2/3. Relatively close, I would say. It's not really exact, but we're never really trying to be exact, so it's kind of okay. I would say though, I can push it down a little bit more, so maybe I'll just do it again. 1/3, 2/3. Okay, so I'm fine with that. I push this down a little bit, and then I'll start to add volume here. I'll add volume to the top part, and I'm keeping in mind this indent part and then this rolling in action. So I just want I want it to have this kind of angled volume as it builds up, and I'm gonna do it quite a few more times here. So, and then later I'll just redynamesh this. Redynamesh, and my polish is on during my redynamesh, so it should look kind of like this. Okay, so actually from the side view, I'm kind of not liking that as much. So I want this to be actually a bit more gradual, and just keep the center maybe a bit push in. And just move this out. So I did Dynamesh again, so it's smoother. Okay, now I already have some volume here, so it's already relatively successful. I'll use a 5 brush, and I'll push it out. So my intensity is around 30 right now, and I'll push out a line here like this. Pressing alternate, I'll do it once more. So it just pushes this line here. So I'm trying to get this line, which is super important. Very, very important line here. And now we have that definition going for sure, but it's looking a bit too boxy, so I'll just use number 3 brush to inflate and make this kind of thicker. Also for the sides here. Number 5 brush. Definition once more. So on the side view, I should be able to push this back in, and it should look more natural here. Use my number 6 brush to cut this in, and let me measure this line here. Line is pretty good actually. It's pretty accurate right there. I'll just add the definition here. So here, the bottom part, we do need the mouth to open up, so I'm gonna start to push in the mouth. Okay, and then I'm just gonna redynamesh this. Push in the mouth again. And I'll redynamesh this. Okay, now I need to add volume for the bottom parts because I did push him a bit too much there, so I want to make sure I add a lot of volume to the bottom part. And this side of the mouth, as I mentioned just now, is going to be quite gradual, so I can add back a bit more volume, and then I just smooth this out. Redynamesh. So we are already getting somewhere. I'll use my number 3 brush, inflate, and as you see, I inflated quite a bit. And it looks pretty successful so far. Number 5 brush is DamStandard. Push it out. So we have this nice edge at the bottom. We want to emphasize this more, and then keep it light towards the side. So let's keep it that way. Keep it a bit light towards the side. Okay, so let me check with side view here. It looks relatively okay. Although it might come a bit strong here, so maybe I'll just add a bit more volume here. So it's also kind of smooth on this part, so it shouldn't be too pushed in. So we'll just add a bit more volume, and I want to smooth things out here. It doesn't look too funny, like it's pushing in or something. Let me just use a bigger number 4 brush and push that out slightly. There we go. 6 brush. Continue to cut inward. This part. And on this part here. Define the side of the mouth more. So sometimes when people sculpt the bottom of they forgot to check from the bottom as well. So the mouth looks just flat. So when you go to the side view, sometimes it may look just fine at the front, but when you go to the side view, you don't see definition like this. You don't see definition like this, and the mouth is just towards the front like this, something like that. And then you will find it very funny because it's not right. So you definitely need to check from the bottom side as well, because if you check from the top, maybe you're just being covered. So you need to look at it from the bottom. Okay, and from the side, of course. So just need you to kind of understand that. Okay, so I'm making these parts a bit more gradual, try to smooth things out here. To push it in. More definition on the bottom. Just a touch more. And I want to start smoothing the rest of things out. I don't want it to have too much artifacts on the mouth. Right, so some of this we can define it a bit, but some of that we can just leave it be. So it may take a while. If you can't get it right the first time, don't be discouraged. Go back and do it again, and sometimes it may be faster to start over, but take some time to recognize the whole anatomy and the shape. Than to just jump right in without a full understanding of the shape. Once you understand the shape, everything becomes much easier and it just makes sense to you. Because if you are going in without understanding the shape, you're going in a little bit blind. So we must be confident in what we do. So we need to learn the anatomy so that we don't go in blind on anything. So let me just smooth out these areas a little bit more. And maybe I'll smooth this line as well because it's a little bit too prominent. It's my number 3 brush. So I just want to add a little bit more here that I saw. So it just adds that temper over there. Or 6 brush to create the out crack. So this little muscle here should kind of follow the shape of your object. If not, you just smooth it out a little bit. Chin. Keep it gradual. Keep it a bit smoother. Don't let it be too prominent. So we have the top lip and the bottom lip. Actually quite happy with that. I think I'll start adding the cylinder soon. So that I just pen and then press a cylinder 3D on the colorize button and rename this as the teeth, the cylinder. And I'll just give this down on transparency and go to side views, put it into place. I can also press Shift F to look at its color, polyframe color, so that it might be easier for me to put this in place. Look at front view. Something like that. Press Ctrl D twice to just give it subdivision value. So it used to be 400 and 400 plus. I press Ctrl D twice and I bring it up to 8000. Subdivision level is on. Just push in on this teeth a little bit so that I will not run into issues if I were to do other things. Yeah. So that's my mouth right now. So maybe I'll make her smile a bit more. Looks a bit unhappy if it's not smiling. And just push down this lower part. Doing some massaging. Once again, making sure this center part is there. Okay, it's already there. I just want to some volume here. So lip should feel look very full. It should look there's some indication of the lines as well when I do that using number 1 brush. Okay, so I think I'll stop my video here. I don't want the video to be too long, and obviously you can still improve it or match it better with the reference or to the model. Okay, this right now is pretty close, right? hope you enjoy the tutorial so far. And if not, you can also check out Danny Mac's original tutorial. Okay, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.